Good morning. Frustrating day yesterday for me with the internet, very sticky, but made it difficult for me to record my plays. So here's a few of them from the live stream yesterday. First one, Lillestrom. Not the biggest profit in the world relative to the risk, but pretty much unbeaten this season, Lillestrom in Norway. So well worth a punt, a goal down. This was another play yesterday which I couldn't get the screenshot for. This was Chesterfield and Crawley Town, who've got an odds-on favourite, 2 goals down to an underdog who are playing away from home. So, very good value to be had. You can see this was a bit sticky yesterday, the Wi-Fi. It took a while to get on. So you lay Crawley Town 2-0 up. And hopefully I'd have done a small back of Chesterfield at 12s or higher. Yeah, 12s. Sit back. Liability is low. There we go. Am I about to place this one? I should. Yeah, there we go. So when you see an underdog 0-2 down on or around half time, you've got the half-time team talk to remind them they're at home in front of home support. You've got the half-time team talk to remind them they're 1.53 favourites. So why don't you take a punt? I like this kind of a look here, where we set it up on the draw, profit on the draw, with the bigger profit on Chesterfield. But as you can see, problem with the Wi-Fi yesterday, took an age to get on. So £71 profit if Chesterfield can pull it off. A marginal gain on the draw, but we're after the big fish. We're also after a well-timed goal as well. So if we can get a 1-2, 55th, 60th minute, that's going to start to produce a green screen. Volendam and Ajax was another play yesterday. Ajax a goal down, very strong favourite. So I do the same scenario. I go match odds, and we were very unlucky because Ajax did get a goal before half-time, but it didn't stick, which was a real pity. So we were just waiting on something to happen in that Ajax match. Tottenham and Bournemouth. This is insurance. And it was an extraordinary match yesterday, Tottenham and Bournemouth. For the large proportion of this match, Tottenham had no shots on target, no shots off target, and no corners. It's a gentle reminder to you playing early on in the season, new managers. Thomas Frank's tactics simply did not work with Tottenham yesterday. Lillestrom got the 1-1. Because of my internet issues, I had trouble even typing on my VPS. But that eventuated into a 3-1 win. I left it as it was. Decent enough game. And here is the Chesterfield Crawley scenario. So at this 2-2, you can make yourself, it was as high as, I think it was about £40-50 profit, green screen. This is what you can take now just with that 2-2, rather than waiting for a possible or potential Chesterfield win with a decent amount of time to go. I thought I would lock it in, or rather get rid of the liability on Crawley Town. That was the better idea. Leave yourself what I call a pipe and slippers match. You can just sit back now and let it unfold. So it's up to you. Do you take that 30 quid? Because it's a nice profit. If you're aiming for 3 figures during your trading session, that's a third of the way there. So working our way through the live stream yesterday, I hope you can make them. I won't be doing one on a Sunday just yet because it's just a very sticky coupon on a Sunday. Wrexham and Millwall. Time to take on Wrexham because they're newly promoted. Millwall, stubborn old fools at home, but too many shots off target. So we were looking for a very low risk play. That was my conclusion as to why. Amount of time left. Millwall looking excellent, really, but all shots off target. Tons of pressure. That for me, if Millwall can make it 1-1 85th minute, you're not going to be seeing 11.5 odds. And this is Football 24. This is what you should be using to get alerted to goals as they come in. So I made a lot of really good calls yesterday. For example, the late Barnet equaliser, that kind of thing. But I couldn't record it because I just had that slow Wi-Fi. Motherwell, Kilmarnock, more good calls in the live stream. Motherwell and Hearts. Hearts, 2 consecutive matches now at odds on, where they have conceded first and they have delivered an unbeaten performance. So the SPL is becoming very readable. This is laying the draw late on. Coventry and Oxford, because of that strength in attack from Frank Lampard's team. But again, keep your liability low because we're so late in the match. But 3 points could be absolutely crucial, even at this stage of the season. I engineered a nice late play for members. Red Bull Salzburg and Blau-Weiß Linz. Yesterday really was a case of the old reliables pulling through. Lillestrøm, Red Bull Salzburg, etc. Old reliable teams dominating their leagues and tending to come from behind. Possibility of 308 quid if Red Bull Salzburg pulled off the win. How about that? That would have been a rather juicy ending. Again, a £50 green screen at 1-1. So take your pick. Are you willing to take the hit in the hope for a bigger return, or take the green amount that appears at the 1-1, which was a decent amount here? I think, if memory serves, it was 40 or 50 pounds. Far more calls yesterday, far more profitable calls in the live stream that you won't have heard on Telegram. As I alluded to, Scotland was an excellent call. Both Hearts and Motherwell going behind and pulling off the equalisers and even the wins. In the Premier League yesterday, Chelsea were very, very efficient. Man United, Burnley, well, I would trade if I could just stifle the laughter for a second or two, but a very, very late winner. I went for the Coventry derby, the Coventry one, laying at 109, 106 to lay the 2-2, lay the draw late on. Should have done that in the Man United match as well, given the fact they haven't conjured up a win for Lord knows how long. Sunderland and Brentford should have laid the late draw here, given the importance of the win. And it's a resounding tick in the box, would you agree, for Sunderland at home. Tottenham, Bournemouth ended 0-1. What did I do? I covered the 0-1, but the stats are just astounding. This is a clear indication of Bournemouth's tactics stifling Thomas Frank's Tottenham. I don't think I've seen stats like this before in a Premier League match, particularly if you look in the first half. No shots on target, no shots off target, no corners for Tottenham. Unbelievable, Jeff. Look at this here. 0-0-0 shots inside the box. This is a tactical masterclass by Bournemouth, and all other Premier League managers should be taking note. This is how you shut out Tottenham Hotspur. 1 shot on target for the whole of the match. So we were walking on thin ice with that 0-1 because 0-2 was threatening. And I did show members in play. You could actually get out. If your liability is something like £40, you could have got out there with a £10 loss before the potential second goal was scored. So a very interesting day yesterday. A lot more calls made, a lot more profitable calls made. But Barnet, for example, getting a late equaliser in English League 2. That kind of a thing. Some really good stuff. I hope you profited. I would have laid the very late draw here as well, given Southampton newly relegated. And we missed out some fun. Odds on favourite getting a late equaliser, Ipswich. So we were spoilt really with a lot of decent opportunities yesterday. The likes of Barnet. Why would I have focused on Barnet? Or is it? Yeah, Barnet, I think it is. Because they were odds on favourite, a goal down. So this is a nice, simple trading technique. Why are all these teams starred? Because they're odds on favourites. What we do, we're looking for goals coming in. Why didn't I play Grimsby? Well, they've got the hangover of that Man United win, don't they? So not a team to pin your hat on. They're probably all drunk from that result. Odds on favourites going a goal down. Your second checkpoint should be the in-play stats. Make sure that Barnet are performing like odds on favourite. The advantage with this, we have a home team. So you know they're already going to be giving their all. Chesterfield and Crawley, now you know why that Crawley 0-2 interested me. 1.47 home favourite. You're going to get extremely good value. And when you get that comeback, you've got the chance of an extremely big return on the win for Chesterfield. But the clock got the best of them. MK Dons and Walsall, for example, odds on favourite at home. Depending on when the goal was scored, you check out MK Dons in-play stats. If they've responded as a 1.77 shot, should do, like Barnet, then you get involved. Obviously, something was amiss because I didn't get involved here. But I get alerted whenever the goal comes in an odds-on favourite match. And you'll see quite often, any 0-0 at half-time will end. I wouldn't have taken this one on, though. It was not really odds-on. Wolves and Everton, that was nowhere near the snorefest people were expecting. So the Premier League is becoming a little bit more readable week after week. Newcastle is the exception at the moment, given their striking issues and their problems with some injuries. Elsewhere yesterday, Saint-Etienne and Grenoble. Well, you'd be looking at Saint-Etienne not to lose. So this will be a missed 3 points because this is a hell of a league to get out of. Very, very difficult. And congratulations by Leverkusen on signing Den Haag, you absolute tools. Excuse my French. Goodness me. Might as well hire Wurzel Gummidge. He has absolutely pummeled all the good work that Xavi Alonso did last season. This is going to be a problematic season for Leverkusen, a ridiculous managerial signing. You simply sign Alonso version 2, don't you? Leipzig laid the draw second half. Should have laid the draw second half. Stuttgart as well. I was mentioning in play all the strong attacking stats, but why didn't I lay the draw here despite the 1.57? Because Mönchengladbach had a 0-0 in their opening match, and this was 0-0 for a very long time. So it could be something they've been working on defensively that they're very hard to beat. Greek Super League, usual crew getting a result, although Aris Thessaloniki 1.39 favs going down 0-2, but Olympiakos the standout and AEK Athens. You won't go too wrong trusting those two. Look at Atalanta, worrying odds pre-match, great result for Parma. Napoli doing what Napoli do under Antonio Conte, and that's win without conceding. Good performance from Pisa, newly promoted, but just not quite good enough against the newly managed Roma. And in the Eredivisie, well, a red card for Excelsior, and Twente still couldn't take advantage. PSV and Telstar, this should have been a play. And they got the Ajax equaliser, so we just made a small loss on the draw there. But I think I was asleep by the time these matches came, because there's still some potential plays involved with PSV yesterday. How do you cover the 0-2? Well, you can cover it with both teams to score no, but you might have to take the hit here. A sudden lurch towards this kind of a result. You don't know the reason why. Why are they suddenly cocking things up? Well, having a centre forward almost as old as Joe Biden is probably not a good idea. Ivan Perisic there for his retirement top-up. Probably not the striker you want up front. Not quite the luminaries of old in the Eredivisie like Luis Suarez, that kind of thing. So that's your reason, I think. They're going to have to solve the forward line, relying on a man in the twilight of his career to lead the line. Could suggest injury concerns as well for PSV. Looking on to today and the odds on, we'll get a look in yet again, particularly in leagues like Austria. It is a good technique, this. Just focus on any team at odds of 1.9 or lower, and you've got yourself an automatic shortlist for the day in as many leagues as you want. Your job is to see whether the underdog scores first. Your job is to see whether the favourite is performing like a favourite. And you can only find that out via the in-play stats as the match unfolds. So you can see we've got a lot of odds-ons, even in the Super League there. Copenhagen away at Randers. This suggests it's going to be a bit of a battle for Copenhagen today. They tend to fall foul pre and post Europe. I think El Nesri, you'll have to see him straight out of the blocks today. Brighton and Man City. Well, again, Tottenham's odds were these kind of odds yesterday. It's not a confident market despite Manchester City at odds on, suggesting there's going to be more problems for them today against Brighton. Nottingham Forest against West Ham. Well, this is old Harry Potter's nightmare. Should have stayed with Hogwarts instead of managing West Ham. An awful mess at the moment. Nottingham Forest, well drilled, very disciplined, defensively strong, with a goalkeeper with the best clean sheet record, I think, last season. Liverpool and Arsenal, the first massive derby match of the season. Arsenal away at Man United were single goal heroes, didn't tend to lose, did tend to get the 1-0s. Head-to-heads, I think, will be important here. Is this going to be a stifling match? It doesn't look so, does it? It looks all out like goals, goals, goals. And what record do we have for Liverpool at the moment? Scoring and conceding 2 goals, even going back to the Community Shield. So that fits in with the head-to-heads, the potential for both teams to score 2 goals. So any team leading 2-0 here today should be vulnerable. Please remember this is a massive derby. It is, or it could lurch towards a 0-0 and a late 1-0 win. But this could decide the title even now. Must take points off your nearest rival, particularly with Manchester City losing as well. Aston Villa and Crystal Palace is a very tough match to unpack. Crystal Palace, I think the team was looked after midweek against Fredrikstad in a very unconvincing 2 legs. It was because it was a much changed Crystal Palace side in Europe. They're going to be a tough team under Glasner this season. Aston Villa not got going yet under Dick Emery. So a watching brief on them at the moment. And what I'll do, maybe do some reports for the Premier League using my app, which I was very impressed with its results yesterday, or its view of the Premier League. It looks a little more in depth. It will look at, I think it's this one here, Soccer Match Research. It will look at referees. It will look at managerial head-to-heads, look at tactics as well. It's something just to add to the pile. So I will be doing reports on the Premier League today using this app, if it turns up. The beauty about working these apps, you have to keep enhancing them and improving them on a daily basis. So I'll be putting the Premier League through its paces, see what it comes up with. Viscount's League, I'm not researching it today, but it's going to be a league to follow, that's for sure. Odds-on favourites, of course, we'll get a look in immediately. Ilves, we know very well. Inter Turku, vying for the title, these 3. HJK Helsinki, of course, very reliable as well. French Ligue 1 is still getting on its feet. You can tell it's a tough coupon today. 2.3 the favourite there. But Paris FC, newly promoted and doing a good job. Odds on favourite at home has to be respected. Monaco have to start winning. Le Havre have been putting in some good home performances, but almost inevitably tending to fall foul by the single goal. Bundesliga today as well looks very solid. Dortmund against Union Berlin, who beat Stuttgart last week. FC Köln are newly promoted, and the market's giving them a little bit of respect. 2.55, the favourite. AEK Athens, PAOK, and Panathinaikos, three of the big boys, are at home today in the Super League. Well worth following. Shamrock Rovers coming off the back of European exploits midweek. Odds on at home. Again, at Tala. Very difficult to beat there. The Old Lady, or is it Grimsby? One of the two. Away at Genoa. Early season. Not really been getting the old checkbook out. So be a little weak. Inter Milan were absolutely imperious on their opening day. Under Chivu, their new manager, doesn't look like the new manager is going to make the team negative, that's for sure. Lazio against Verona, losing to Como on the opening day of the season. It's already must-win territory for Lazio. And in the Eredivisie, we're expecting goals, particularly from AZ Alkmaar and Feyenoord. Must take advantage of that PSV defeat yesterday. Do note, Sparta Rotterdam are quite fancied by Eredivisie market makers. It's a much respect 1.83 quote for Feyenoord. We're starting to see this 1.8, 1.9, aren't we? It does indicate a lukewarm, strong favourite in what could be a tight match. The Elite Serien will get a look in just as far as there's Fredrikstad from Europe midweek, so they might underperform today. And we're making our way down. Benfica, a bit later on, absolute standout. Braga as well, full of goals. Santa Clara involved in Europe against Shamrock Rovers might underperform. We got the Old Firm derby today, and it's already a must-win for Rangers. They must take 3 points off Celtic. An absolute embarrassment in Europe, both of these two sides. Oh dear. And I will pay attention to the odds on favourites today. They were very solid yesterday, Motherwell and Hearts. So we've got Aberdeen and Hibernian. And in La Liga, Barcelona should continue along their merry way. So I've not decided to do a live stream just yet. I've noted on Sunday we don't get the attendance. So it's really difficult for me to get motivated talking to 4 or 5 people. It's obvious you've got your Sunday lunch to eat. So I will decide a bit later on whether to do a live stream or not. Otherwise, it will just be a simple Telegram session. We'll get the live streams going once I think we've got more form under our belts. It's just a mishmatch on a Sunday. What happens, we tend to go off to these secondary leagues and we tend to make more speculative plays on a Sunday. You can see there's more of these secondary leagues than there are elites. Have a great day. I will see members on Telegram at, well, from 12:30 onwards. Club Brugge, odds on favourite at 12:30. I will decide whether to do a live stream, so make sure you have subscribed to Football Trading Profits YouTube channel, and I'll let you know when the next live stream is. Yesterday's was excellent. You're going to get more trades if you're at a live stream. The ones that I can't get through over to you, Barnet, for example. Some little calls like Motherwell looking good today. Look like they could equalise, but I don't follow through because of my Wi-Fi issues. Have a great day. I'll see members of Football Trading Profits from 12:30, and I will decide a bit earlier, probably midday, whether to do a live stream or not. Probably not on a Sunday at the moment.